So I'm wetting the back of the paper quite a lot, so that mainly it'll just keep the paper flat while I'm working, but also it seeps through a little bit and it keeps it damp on the other side. It's good if you're doing wet in wet to wet the back. Otherwise, if your paper's totally dry, like front and back, and if you wet it on the back, it'll seep through the fibres and keep the sort of the inside layers damp, so it doesn't dry as quickly, and it just gives you a better opportunity to, a longer window of opportunity to paint and have your paint not dry too quickly. So while that's just soaking in a little bit, I'm going to mix up my colours. So you need, that'll give me a really cold blue. So all these colours are going to be really strong. Good old quinacridone red, couldn't live without that one. And I might also mix up some aureolin so that I can drop that in if I want. Okay, so there's all my colours mixed up. I'll just put some more water on the back of this paper. Oh, that's clear, isn't it? I thought it might be blue. Okay, so that's my paper. So I've given you the image for today. That's just as inspiration. So what I'm going to do is work out where my horizon's going to be, and it's going to be along there. So that's, I'm going to wet that paper and come down to that line. So this is going to be my far distant vegetation, and I'll have my focal point about here. And because you're putting very soft colours down, they'll bleed in and go beautiful and soft. So even at this stage, you can change the colour, sort of that's cool and that's warmer, and leave some gaps for your trees. So as you come forward, of course, you want to make it stronger. So put a bit of blue and a bit of the yellow. I'll put some yellow ochre with that. And don't really like that green terribly much. I'll make it more of a blue, I think. And then you can come along the front and just drag that along. Can't really see if that's straight. I think it is. So I'll leave that to sit for a while. BaoHong paper, this is rough BaoHong and it's very rough. That's going to take quite a while to dry, but that's okay. We don't have to rush it.
Is the image?
Yeah, just, oh, I've got one. Thanks, Jen. Okay, so if you just look at this, you can see that you've got warm and cool, light and dark. I cut the trees off, not purposely, but when I took the photo, I was focusing actually on the reeds. So you just want to have light and dark, warm and cool. Thanks, Kathy. So I'm just going to mix up something a bit stronger. Sounds like a cocktail, doesn't it? I'll just mix up something a bit stronger. Maybe it's sort of autumny colours. Something's flowering. And then the next thing that you can do is come along with another brush with water on. And depending how far down you want your reflections, then you can drag some of that pigment down. So you do need a wide brush, or you can use one like that. Branches and things, probably best to go in a bit later, not just now. And then you can change that very, very dark, either to like a bluish tone. And it's a great exercise, something to do if you think, what will I paint today, and you really don't know what to paint. You can play around with something like this. And then you can get your big wide brush, make sure it's damp, not too wet, and you can just bring those reflections down. And you might also want maybe to put something else here. Maybe there's another patch of shrubbery here in the water. So I'll just darken that a little bit. I can't really stop because if you miss the opportunity to drag that pigment down, you don't get many chances because it's all got to be just the right amount of pigment, the right amount of water. I mean, you could put jetties and boats and people and all sorts of things in if you wanted. And you can also go back into it, like here, it's a bit wet still, but you can then put more little trees and things in. So it's probably going to be about 10 minutes to dry to the next stage. So if you want to go and have a go at that, we can come back and I'll show you how to do the rest of it and sort of lift out the tree trunks and things. Might just add a few more little branches up here. So I think it's a fun thing to try. I like painting like that. And you know, you can also get it to run a bit more. If you hold it up, it'll run down more. So if you paint it on an angle, it would happen a lot faster. So have a go at that if you want. You can pick out tree trunks. So, and Holbein paints are really, really good for this.
You've just got water on it?
Just water, and not much, just very little. So you can come along and just and at the moment you can't see anything. You're going, okay, that's really not terribly exciting, Jude, but this is a bit wet down here, but this is probably pretty much how I want it. down here looks about right. Yeah, I can see that starting. And what happens is the water on the surface of the paper will push the pigment away. So it has these little halos.
So just a damp brush, sorry Jude.
Yeah, just enough water on so that it will do this, but that was a bit too much. And then what you can do is get some paper and just lightly press down, and you'll see that all those little tree trunks will appear.
Oh.
Wow, look at that.
So you can all do that.
It's not hard, Jude.
No, no.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's fun. But we might be able to turn those into...
Good idea.
There you go. It's worked.
There you go.
Right.
Fix it.
And then you can come and you can just put... So with these, whatever you do, don't put nice, neat, straight grasses. Just try and sort of get them going a bit all over the place. Because if you look at that picture, they are all kind of over the place. So you don't want too much paint on your brush, and you can actually get the bristles and pull them apart. And then you might have to come back when it's a bit drier and put some more marks in, or tidy this bit up. I'm not really happy with that because it hasn't gone how I wanted it. Let's see if I can do this. Not really.
Too dry?
Yes. That might work. Okay, and back here, quite like how some of those have gone. I'll just blot those weeds up there where they've gone over that damp paper. So that gives me light and dark, which always looks nicer than just one flat tone of vegetation or anything. And then you can come back, we need it to be quite pale, bluey colour. I want to put some branches maybe coming up here. Just don't hold your rigger like a pencil, otherwise your twigs will come out lovely and stiff. You want them to sort of look like, you know, they've evolved on the paper, not been drawn in with great precision. So, and then you don't want that all the same tone either, so just blot a little bit of that. And I think that'll dry okay. I might put some darker, just a bit darker in, yeah, down there. It might be too wet still. I'll come back to that. Yeah, I'll leave that to dry and we'll come back.
Would that have been dry yet? Pretty, still a little bit
It's still a bit
damp.
damp, it's cool, but that's the moisture coming through from the back of the paper rather than from the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, the painted surface is dry.
Oh, that's
So now I've got, you know, lots of different tones for the grasses and the trees. So you need some wider lines, some narrow grasses. Just keep everything kind of interesting and not all the same. I'll make some of them in there just a bit cooler, especially as they're right at the front. Okay. Love that light. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really quite well.
Bless you.
isn't it? And I'll just run a bit more dark along here.
It's a shame that you live in an industrial area.
Sorry?
It's a shame that you live in an industrial area. Machines running in the background.
All the machinery.
Must be some sort of vacuum truck.
Poor dog. Right, so that actually looks.
No, it looks great. And they do look like rocks on that one, too.
Yes, they do. Okay, so you could also do a couple of lines there, just ripples. Yep. That's a nice one, Jude. You'll have to frame that.
It's coming along nicely.
Isn't it beautiful?
So I think that's all you need to do for that. So there we go. I've finished, guys.
Where is it? Where is it?